That's now a reference to
Mr. Adams.
Honourable Member Adams. Then there's a recommendation, and a recommendation due to the sensitive nature of the allegations, which has been widely announced by the complainant. It is imperative that before any criminal investigation is launched, your office peruse the affidavits to provide a legal opinion on whether the elements of the crime exist and advise on the way forward. So that was on the 20th of November 2011. Then if we come back to the information note at the front, we'll see the role of the inspectorate is discussed on the second page. The findings of the service complaint investigation, those are the 4 dockets, the one in of Orlando, opened in Orlando, sorry, 3 Cape Town, 4 Cape Town dockets, case numbers. And then again at 4.2, various attempts were made to conduct an interview with Mr. Fadiel Adams, MP, but due to the complainant's schedule, no appointment could be secured. The purpose of the requested appointment was to obtain an affidavit in terms of the allegations and determine if information alluded to in the affidavits contained criminal dockets, in the criminal dockets, was in possession of the complainant. Colonel Phillips submitted an affidavit to support the attempts made to secure the appointments. Then a report was compiled. Then at 4.4, the 6 above-mentioned dockets were provided to the Division Legal Services to provide a legal opinion on whether the elements of crime exist and advise on the way forward. Then at 4.5, an extract of the report received from Legal Services indicated the current information contained in the dockets is scanty and too vague to formulate charges against any suspects. As a result, Legal Services is unable to confirm that the required elements of any offence are contained in the docket. Then in Annexure 4, which is also at page 293 for those who have the paginated bundle. It's 293, Annexure 4. Have you got it there?
I do, Chair.
And this legal opinion is dated the 11th of December 2024. Quite a few things happened in December 2024 with him. But so you'll see, and right at the end on page 296, paragraph 13, the current information contained in the dockets is scanty and too vague to formulate charges against any suspects. As a result, Legal Services is unable to confirm that the required elements of any offence are contained in the dockets. So just at random, I'm sure honourable members will pick up on some of the detail. For example, at 3.4 on page 294, no details are provided regarding the identity of the friends and family members of Lieutenant General Kumalo who were allegedly appointed in the division. This would at least have enabled the investigation into the allegations. neither the particulars or statements of senior members of the service who were allegedly instructed to ensure that Valeria case number so-and-so is not investigated, nor the statement of a sex worker are filed in these dockets. In Cape Town case number 1651 and Valeria case 403, the complainant alleges that Major General Madondo failed a polygraph examination in July 2024, whereafter the head of vetting, Brigadier Ngube, was tasked to ensure that the matter would not be addressed or investigated. The complainant does not reveal the identity of the person who allegedly tasked Brigadier Ngube not to invest the failed polygraph. And so it goes on and results then in the conclusion that is reached. And if we then go back to the front to the information note, we'll see that that following a process followed that the matter shouldn't go any further. Advocate Johnson, so one, your response, there appears to have been some parallel investigation, and two, that investigation contrasts markedly with the IDAC investigation, and it records that there seems to be no basis to proceed any further into the allegations of the Honourable Mr. Adams. I suppose an immediate concern would be that they also failed to secure him for an interview, and the opinion seems to be based squarely on what was contained in the dockets, and they say the information was scanty and so on.
So, Chair, the IDAC was not aware of these processes that I alluded to in the entire MK15 and all of its annexures and attachments. Because when IDAC requested the dockets through the Office of Lieutenant General Sentomule, if this, and I'm not saying that this didn't happen, what would have made sense if IDAC was informed that they should please wait, there is a process to deal with this matter, given that there is a complaint that has been escalated to the Office of the National Commissioner. Of course, we would have waited. We were not informed that there was a process to look at the allegations and or the unhappiness of Mr. Adams. Not at all. The dockets were handed over. And it is so. Those dockets, in all likelihood, in the form that they were in at the South African Police Services, were scanned, and they were unable to apply, or well, they applied their minds, but could not come up with the requisite criminal charges. I'm not disputing that. But that must be borne out by the fact that for whatever reason, and the attempts they made, or the kinds of attempts they made, Honorable Chair, they did not secure an audience with Mr. Adams. IDAC was able to secure an audience with Mr. Adams when he referred the matter in terms of Section 27. IDAC was able to sit with him, to take his affidavit, and to fully understand the allegations that he was making. That was an opportunity the police did not get. I accept that if they got that opportunity and or asked for that opportunity and went ahead with it, there's a real likelihood those cases would not have ended up in the IDAC space because the police would have done their work. So I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying we were not aware of that process. And I would honestly, in fairness to the colleagues at SAPS, one would have expected them to bring it to IDAC's attention, that they were vested in dealing with this complaint.
Honorable Sangren. Sorry, can I just confirm what is the date that on which Mr. Adams referred the matter to IDAC, firstly, and then secondly, the charge against accused 1 to 6. I know that 7 has an additional charge of corruption. 1 to 6. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Chair, if I may just ask for clarity, Honorable Sangoni, you are asking in terms of the referral made by Adams, what were the allegations he made against those accused?
No, the date on which he made the referral. Thanks.
I speak under correction, and when we get a break, I'll get the exact date, but it would have been between the 11th and the 20th of November.
What is General Kumalo charged with?
In the charge sheet which is attached, General Kumalo is charged with corruption for the gratification of the employment position, and then there are fraud charges as well that are preferred against the general and the accused.
Honorable Mngango, Honorable Skwasana.
Well, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good afternoon, Advocate. I'm just wanting to get some clarity here that the information contained in the annexure document actually gives us a process that actually had been undertaken by the police after they had actually received is it the dockets? I don't know whether the dockets from Mr. Adams. So it actually outlines the processes. Now, in the evidence here that is presented to us, the documents are actually reported to have disappeared. In the light of what actually is contained here, would you still say that the documents had disappeared?
Sorry, Chair, I seek clarity. I'm just slightly confused about what documents do you refer to, Honorable Member?
I mean, I don't know whether it is, you guys call it dockets.
The dockets, Honorable Member.
Yes,
Yes.
Dockets, yes. In your statement, in your evidence in chief, you are actually saying that those dockets were missing. Nobody knew where they were. And then here in this annexure, the annexure is actually outlining the process that indeed these dockets were being attended to in November and right up to December. So my question is, would you still maintain that the dockets had disappeared, as you have actually said in your evidence?
Thank you, Honorable Member. What is in my affidavit is what is reported to us by Mr. Adams, that he had opened cases in the Western Cape, those dockets disappeared. I use the words that the person used, that he opened dockets in Gauteng and they disappeared. What I did say in an earlier response just now was, IDAC was not aware of the process that was followed as per MK15. So how these got there, we are not aware. But what we did become aware of is when he came to Gauteng, we asked the Divisional Commissioner detectives that we would like to know if these dockets are there and can we have access to those dockets. Given that they were then, as I now know, were busy with these, of course they had those dockets. But we didn't know where those dockets were, and the witness, Mr. Adams, the complainant, sorry, indicated that the dockets were missing. When those dockets were handed to us, we were handed dockets with Valeria CARES numbers and one Langlaagte CARES number, and those were the dockets that we then had. But those were the dockets that they had and gave to us. We didn't know that they had them till we wrote and asked for them, but that is what he said, Honorable Member, that the dockets were missing.
Through you, Chair, should we actually believe that the dockets were missing? or had disappeared, should we actually be still saying that the dockets had disappeared?
Honorable Member, I give it from the context of what was referred to us and what the complainant indicated. When we had the dockets, we can no longer say the dockets are not there. Those are the dockets that we were given by the head of detectives. So in his initial report, he said the dockets are missing. So when we were given the later information, we were able to ask for. So no, we can't say the dockets are still missing. We now have the dockets because the head of detectives provided us with those dockets.
Ngola and then Matthijs.
Thanks, Chair. In the same docket kind of questioning. Mr. Adams opens a case in Cape Town. 2 days later, Mr. Adams opens a case in Gauteng. When did he lodge a complaint with IDAC? And when did IDAC receive the dockets? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ngola. He referred the matter to IDAC in the middle of November, and IDAC only requested and received the dockets after that. I indicated when we take a break, I will make sure that I get a copy of that letter written to General Sentomole to indicate that we were requesting the dockets. So he registered dockets. When you look at the CARES numbers, they say CARES something stroke 10. So he registered his dockets in October, but he only approached IDAC in the middle of November, and we got the dockets after the referral.
So Mr. Adams' evidence is that in month end October, he registered cases, but already, which is probably about 17 days, 15 days, his evidence is that dockets were missing in between those days.
That is what he referred.
Okay.
Honorable Matthijs.
Thank you, Chair. Advocate, it's a bit bizarre that you don't have the exact dates even in your affidavit, or in your statement rather, but we have here the 29th of October was when Honorable Adams opened the case in Western Cape. Then it's the 31st of October when he traveled to Gauteng. Then on the 1st, he writes to the minister, and then you get a letter on the 11th of November. So it's all in a space of 14 days. Does that make sense to you?
So
14 days that it landed up with you to intervene.
Honorable Chair and Member, I understand what you're saying. On the face of it, it looks as though things were rushed. We cannot determine the sequence that he chose to follow. But when he did come to IDAC to refer the matter, we dealt with the matter at the time. Okay. I accept that it doesn't look kosher, but that is what he did. I cannot comment on why he followed the timeline that he did. And that is why I go back to, if the police had indicated they were running a process as per MK15, we would have stood back and allowed that process to run. It was not in our interest to be running with the matter while they ran with the matter.
So the question wasn't talking so much about the process of Adams, of Honorable Adams. It's about that when you finally got hold of it, that this happened so quickly. So that just didn't raise any awareness that within 14 days you have something, and the fact that he said dockets are missing and they actually weren't missing.
I take the point, Honorable Matthijs. I can't differ from your answer, except we received a complaint, we acted on the complaint in the time that we acted on the complaint.
Honorable Sangon.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, Advocate Johnson, would the affidavit that Mr. Honorable Adams would have had to depose as part of the Section 27. Would that be a public document? Would we be able to be furnished with that document?
If the chair can put his,
Yeah, respond to the question and then we'll go to the next.
your microphone is on, so I couldn't
Okay.
press the, sorry, Chair. The document is not a public document. If it was, I would have brought the document with. It forms part of the investigation and forms part of that process. It's not a document that has been disclosed.
Can I follow up, Chair? So this matter is in court. Would it not be part of the court papers and therefore a public document?
They aren't part of the court papers.
Honorable Malim, are you fine? Okay. SC, I think
Thank
we
you,
are
Chair.
ready to proceed.
Thank you. Advocate Johnson, did you have any interaction during the course of 2024, after July 2024, and in particular around November 2024, December 2024, with Minister Mkhunu and or his chief of staff?
Not that I can recall. I hadn't had an engagement.
Not that you can recall, or is it possible that you may have?
I remember that, not with Minister Mkhunu, no. I hadn't spoken to his chief of staff, not from my own recollection.
And the only contact, is it your evidence, the only contact you had with Minister Mkhunu's office was that letter you received from Chief of Staff in Kabinde?
There had been occasion for IDAC to write to the minister. There had been a complaint from his chief of staff about a member of IDAC. And as the head of IDAC, we asked the chief of staff that the allegation he makes is serious. He must depose to an affidavit or a statement so that that matter can be referred to be investigated. That was the level of engagement. The chief of staff sought not to engage. He refused to depose to an affidavit. And what the ID did was write a letter to the Minister of Police, Minister Mkhunu, indicating its displeasure that the Chief of Staff raises an issue with one of its investigators directly with the ID, refuses to make a statement. It is an issue of integrity of the investigator and of IDAC, and that can this matter please be dealt with, and can he kindly implore on the Chief of Staff who made these allegations to please depose to an affidavit. The minister never replied to me, and to date, the Chief of Staff also did not depose to a statement where he made allegations against one of the investigators at IDAC. That would have been the most engagement I had with them.
Did you have any interaction with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi during that period?
November, December?
No, yeah, in 2024, and especially towards the end of the year, November, December.
No. I'm sure that after the referral by Mr. Adams, my investigators, over the course of the investigations, did engage with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. I did not. The only time I did engage was then now in 2025, when the general himself had called me about assisting with something. And the last conversation with him was on the 2nd of July, 2025.
The 7th of July.
Was on the 2nd to
The 2nd.
July, 2025.
And what was that about?
Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi had called. He indicated that there is someone he knows at Correctional Services in KZN, and can I kindly engage with the person? There is something that they want to report or raise. He says, I don't know the details. I indicated, General, kindly send us the contact details so that IDAC can engage. Lieutenant General Mkwanazi on a WhatsApp sent the contact details of the person that he was requesting we make contact, IDAC make contact with. I said, not a problem, General, we will deal with it. He said, thank you, sent me a picture with the police salute, and that was it. I didn't, nor did my office, in terms of the investigators. We didn't get an opportunity to engage because once the media expose of the 6th of July, I paused to wonder why we were asked to make contact with this person. And I've subsequently learned that that person is in fact subject to investigations for corruption. So at the time, I didn't know who it was. After the 6th July expose, I sought to look and find out who this person is that we were being asked to contact, given the allegations made by General Mkwanazi about IDAC and the ID.
So just explain to us, what is the connection between this person that Lieutenant General Mkwanazi wants you to make contact with and his involvement in a corruption case? Is it a case that you were investigating as IDAC, or a case that the police was investigating?
Honorable Chair, I had no idea who the person was. General only indicated that this person had an issue that he wanted to discuss or escalate. He said, I'm not sure of what the issue is. I asked him to send me the contact details. We didn't speak to the person, but after the 6th July expose, I sought to look at who is this person we were supposed to contact, and it turns out that this is a person implicated in corruption.
But what case of corruption?
So this is a person that is implicated in the in allegations of corruption with Bosasa in his time as the Correctional Services Commissioner for KwaZulu-Natal. That is the allegation.
The Zondo Bosasa or some
The
other
Zondo
Bosasa?
Bosasa, yes.
And he wanted you to contact that person?
Yes, but what he wanted, I don't know that he knew, I want to be honest. I really don't know if he knew what the person was going to say. I don't know if he knew what the person is involved in. I cannot make that kind of deduction. But after the 6th July media expose, I sought to step back because I couldn't understand why he would have talked to me on the 2nd of July, yet went ahead and made the allegations he made as he did on the 6th of July. I sought to step back from that matter.
So I don't think it's rocket science to deduce that you must have been quite shocked when you heard his allegations on the 6th of July, having had contact with Lieutenant General Mkwanazi on the 2nd of July, actually asking you to do something.
That is correct, Chair.
Now, just going back to the legal opinion that was provided to the National Commissioner, it was also dated 11 December 2024. And it's clear from here that they say obviously Honorable Adams' allegations are scanty and so on, but they do say it requires to be properly investigated and prosecuted. However, it also requires that resources should not be wasted and suspects should not be subjected to persecution based on unsubstantiated allegations. They acknowledged the seriousness of the allegations. They said, while these allegations made by the complainant are serious in nature, they are unsubstantiated at this stage. The complainant's statements can be described as vague accusations rather